Well, hello and welcome to the Keith Jones Show today. Today, we're going to be looking at the man, Donald John Trump. And today, we're going to be looking at his visit, or at least his video address, to the World Economic Forum. On January the 23rd, 2025, President Donald Trump, by a live video address, he spoke to the World Economic Forum, and he spoke to some of the most powerful people in the world. Most politicians, when they stand before their voters, they say one thing, but when they stand before the perceived elite, well, let's just say they, in many cases, change their message. But with Donald Trump, it is completely different. It is not this way with him. And when he stood before the World Economic Forum via this video messaging, he spoke the same message that he spoke on the campaign trail. He informed them, number one, that America is the best place for business.
Under the Trump administration, there will be no better place on earth to create jobs, build factories, or grow a company than right here in the good old USA.
He goes right off the cuff and tells them the best place to have a business is in the United States of America. And there are several reasons for this. You know, we're going to have a low corporate tax rate. It's going to be low. They're going to begin to cut the regulation that is hindering and stifling so much growth. They're going to start utilizing America's abundant natural resources. He uses the drill, baby, drill. But businesses are investing in America, and they're investing in America because of Trump's America First policies. Watch this.
SoftBank has announced between a $100 and $200 billion investment in the U.S. economy because of the election result. And just 2 days ago, Oracle, SoftBank, and OpenAI announced a $500 billion investment in AI infrastructure. Other companies likewise have announced billions and billions and billions, adding up to trillions.
The corporations, large corporations, are not the only ones looking to invest money into the United States. In fact, he's going to tell us in just a moment that small businesses, there is great optimism among small business owners. Now, if you're a small business owner, listen to this and tell us, do you agree? Are you excited about the about the America First policies by the Trump administration? Listen to what he says.
Upon my election, it was just announced that small business optimism skyrocketed by 41 points in a single month. That's the highest ever. There's never been anything like that.
So how are you optimistic about the small business in America? I think many people are. But Donald Trump just didn't tell the World Economic Forum that. He also he told them he was going to warn Saudi Arabia and to strongly encourage them and OPEC to lower their oil prices. Listen to this.
And I'm also going to ask Saudi Arabia and OPEC to bring down the cost of oil. You got to bring it down, which frankly, I'm surprised they didn't do before the election. That didn't show a lot of love by them not doing it. I was a little surprised by that. If the price came down, the Russia-Ukraine war would end immediately. Right now, the price is high enough that that war will continue. You got to bring down the oil price. You got to end that war. They should have done it long ago. They're very responsible, actually, to a certain extent, for what's taking place. Millions of lives are being lost. I'm also going to ask Saudi Arabia.
Wow, that's pretty powerful, telling OPEC and Saudi Arabia they should have already lowered the price of their oil. Therefore, because they have not done that, he says that is having a huge impact on the way the Ukraine and Russia war is going. And I understand why. He's talking about by them not lowering the prices, that Russia's still able to continue to sell oil and to continue that much needed revenue that they need to consistently continue the war. But notice Trump not only informed them of his intentions to tell Saudi Arabia and OPEC to lower the oil prices, but now he looks at the homeland and he calls for the invasion at the southern border to stop. He's going to stop it. Listen to what he tells them.
week. I'm also taking swift action to stop the invasion at our southern border. They allowed people to come in at levels that nobody's ever seen before. It was ridiculous. I decided and declared to do, and very, very importantly, a national emergency on our border, immediately halted all entry of illegal border crossers, of which there were many, and began promptly returning the illegal trespassers back to the place from which they came. That action, as you've probably seen, has already started very strongly. I've deployed active duty U.S. military and National Guard troops to the border to assist in repelling the invasion. It was really an invasion. We will not allow our territory to be violated. After 4 long years, the United States is strong and sovereign and a beautiful nation. Once again, it's a strong, sovereign nation.
So he informs them, the World Economic Forum, that now he has basically closed the southern border. He has placed the military. He sent them down there to make sure that no more illegals cross over into this country. He told them that the previous 4 years, this was not going to be a repeat. He was going to stop it, and that's exactly what he's doing. He also said that he's going to deport. They've already started the deportation of those who entered this country illegally, and he's specifically focusing on those who are the most dangerous at this point. But Trump not only stops there, he doesn't stop there. Listen to his next point of focus. Very important.
In addition, I'm pleased to report that America is also a free nation once again. On day one, I signed an executive order to stop all government censorship. No longer will our government label the speech of our own citizens as misinformation or disinformation, which are the favorite words of censors and those who wish to stop the free exchange of ideas and, frankly, progress. We have saved free speech in America, and we've saved it strongly.
And we are thankful that you have, Mr. President. In fact, there was not anyone who was removed from more platforms, who had their First Amendment rights to be shut down more than Donald Trump. In fact, this is one of the reasons I believe he started Truth Social. In fact, this is one of the reasons that you had so many platforms to explode during this time. You have Getter, you have Rumble, you have Truth Social, you have X. This is one of the reasons I think Elon Musk purchased X. Or bought Twitter and turned it into X. You have Right Side Broadcasting. You have OANN. You have Real America's Voice. A lot of these, they've been around, but people are now turning to these sources. You even have Mike Lindell, his station that is putting forth information. So people are leaving these types of places where you can be silenced. So this is one of the reasons why. One of the reasons why so many of these free speech platforms exploded during this time. People saw what was coming, and now Trump, being elected as the next president, is taking the necessary steps to try to make sure that Americans are no longer removed from these areas of the free speech platform. But Trump doesn't stop there. It's interesting. There's several CEOs there, probably many, but one in particular is a CEO of the Bank of America. I believe his name is Brian Moynihan, I believe is his name, and no, his first name's Brian. And anyway, he's the CEO, and he asked Donald Trump a question, and now Trump is going to respond to him. But listen to what Donald Trump says as he's responding to him. Listen to the way in which he talks about the way Bank of America treated conservatives.
By the way, speaking of you, and you've done a fantastic job, but I hope you start opening your bank to conservatives, because many conservatives complain that the banks are not allowing them to do business within the bank, and that included a place called Bank of America. They don't take conservative business. And I don't know if the regulators mandated that because of Biden or what, but you and Jamie and everybody, I hope you're going to open your banks to conservatives, because what you're doing is wrong.
Yeah, and if you hear that, that was me when I was recording it, and I heard him. I love him to challenge these people. I am so sick and tired of us having weak nilly politicians who do not go before these quote, perceived elite and to tell them, like Donald Trump just did. I was reading an article by Fox News that spoke about the way Bank of America, and I believe he mentioned, I think it was Jamie Dimon as he was referring to in there, maybe I think JP Morgan, how they had mistreated conservatives during the Biden administration. And I think he may have alluded to maybe he wasn't sure if it was the previous administration that pressured them or whether they just took it upon themselves to remove them. In fact, I was reading one article that spoke about how these banks had shut down some of the services for several conservative groups, and I read their response, and it just doesn't seem credible. It just doesn't seem credible. In fact, I would say if you have a Bank of America account and you're a conservative, is something you might want to consider, because if they did that during the Biden years, when another liberal or Democrat gets into office, who's to say they're not going to do it again? I love what Donald Trump is doing. He is challenging the status quo. He is putting America first. And when America prospers, when America is first, the whole world begins to prosper. When there is peace by a great president like Donald Trump, there is peace throughout the land. Remember when he was the president in 2017, throughout his entire time, it was a time of peace. It was a time of prosperity. And as soon as the next administration got in there, we had the Russia-Ukraine war. Then we have the Israel and these other Middle Eastern nations attacking them, and many other things that are taking place. There is no peace. There's no prosperity. And with Donald Trump bringing strength through peace through strength, you begin to see that when America brings peace to the world, when we're prosperous, we have more money to give to those who are around the world that don't have. But these other previous administrations, they don't care about you. They don't care about me. They don't care about us. They just care about their own selves. Donald Trump is the only president that I've seen in my lifetime that cares for the American people and shows it the way he has. So, Mr. President, we really appreciate all that you're doing, and we still continue to support you and stand behind you. And he needs your support. He doesn't need you just to vote for him and be done with it. No, you have got to continue to get involved and push these senators to put forth and to pass and to nominate these nominations that Donald Trump has made, to get these nominations like Robert Kennedy, to get the nomination like Tulsi Gabbard, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel. I know I'm leaving out a few. Have already just did Pete Hegseth, which we're elated for, but barely. 51-50, J.D. Vance had to cast a tie-breaking vote. So don't lay around. The war is still going on. The war is still taking place. So let me encourage you to stay involved, stay informed. This is the Keith Jones Show.